Or to the cloud. Okay, so we're recording now.
Is that you can put that there's more.
Yeah, right?
Right click there.
Comes anyway.
Okay. So yeah, so as I was saying, from us discussing with some of our advisors and really just even within the board, we realized that one of the things that okay, fine, purchasing enough acres for us to build our own community might not happen today, but one of the things that we really can do today is solve a very prevalent problem in the Black community, the Black Ontarian community, and in general, but we're speaking for Ontario here, is we don't have, as Akeen said, access to our own farmland as a collective. And so that's where this project came into fruition. So as I said, we'll get to the Q&A after. I'm just going to give a brief review of what the project is all about. Location is Kirkfield, Ontario, Kawartha Lakes to be specific. It's the land is 100 acres of agriculturally zoned farmland. Currently on the, okay, well, let me get to the price. 780,000 plus HST is the price of the land. Currently, the land is contracted out to a farmer who raises grass-fed cows. And he pays the current owner $2,000 a year in order to use that land. So if we do go ahead, God willing, and we are able to secure this land, that would be an immediate income, which is a bonus, of course, to us.
And
Folu is also,
we can renegotiate.
Yeah, we can.
The terms.
Yeah, Folu, who's okay, cool. Folu, who is our real estate agent, is also on the call tonight, so he will be able to also answer some of the questions about the details of the contract and things like that, and about the land. We've put in a deposit of $25,000 already, and currently the land it is 100 acres, as I mentioned, but 50 acres of that is conserved, or what is it? Conserved, right? Right, it's reserved, so we can't necessarily go on and build or uproot trees from that area. And then 50 acres, is open for an organic farm or organic farming.
And as a result of that, we'll be getting a tax credit on the property. If purchased, I believe it's up to 75%.
Yes.
But Folu from Dreammaker Realty will provide more details on that.
Yeah. Potential land use. We really want to get into sustainable agriculture. We have another brother who's been kind of advising us as well and providing some consultation too. Shabaka and Hezekiah. They're both in that area, which is great because they're both Black farmers, and they're there with their families as well. And they've been kind of advising us, and they have said that they would kind of guide us through the whole process, which is great, because once again, it goes back to the community aspect of what we do here and what we do at Pamoja. Project phases. So number one would be land acquisition. So that's raising funds. We have until January 31st to come up with about 30 to 40% of the price. That's 780,000. And so that would be our main focus right now, is the phase one aspect. So just being able to secure the land. We're also looking for a lender to support us in providing the rest of a mortgage, basically, for the rest of that cost of the purchase. Simultaneously, we're also working with, I said that, a broker, and also those who are going to be advising us as well. Phase two will be more fundraising. land visitations, farmland assessments. So us going on land and really digging deep and finding out what we can farm there and how best to set up and structure farming.
Can I interject?
Yeah,
slightly?
go ahead.
Yeah. We've done that slightly.
But
we
I mean,
visited
like,
the property already,
yeah.
like Folu and Shabaka and Hezekiah, who are like our experts when it comes to farming. They visited the property already. They've checked the soil, and they're working on a list now, in terms of like the type of crops that we can have on the farm, and also the types of animals that we can
raise and things like that. But I was more so specific, and thank you for bringing that up, because we have been doing that. However, I was more so speaking about creating that sustainable structure for the farm.
Yeah, like the phases,
really,
right?
exactly, really going into, okay, where would we plant this crop versus planting that crop? And then Shabaka had mentioned about using the forest and creating natural food growth and things like that within the different areas of the land.
So they're working on the plan currently, and definitely they'll be presenting to to the investors, and and we'll get all the details. Go on.
The other thing that we're going to do for the planning phase is we want to also look around the surrounding areas of Kirkfield and just see if there are residential opportunities. So ideally, it would be nice for us to have the farm and be working on that, and then also have a residential project that we do that ties into us wanting to have our own community. Because it would be wonderful if we could have our food source growing and then also be able to live close by the where we're getting our food or producing our food. Another thing as well, of course, is this is an investment. We are also looking into, currently in phase 1 and phase 2, and continuously we'll be looking into how we generate income from the farm, right? So that's also something that will just be a continuous focus. And then phase 3 would be execution. That's where we actually start farming and we roll out the actual project. The farm plans, of course, primarily food security and farming, of course. But we also want to have community events, a retreat center, youth skill development, community, like a community hub and a getaway space, education, providing education in farming, etc. And have our own ecosystem, basically. Investment details. So for the investment details, basically we're right now, we are projecting that we'll have 500 shares. And each share, the cost of it would be $2,500. That's the lowest point of investment for this particular project. Your return will be dependent on your number of shares or units that you purchase, and of course the number of investors. And as a rule of thumb, only members are permitted to invest. And as Akin pointed out before, if you'd like to know more about membership, you can contact us here at members@pcif.ca. And that's basically my presentation. I don't know, Akin, do you want to add anything to that? And then we turn it over for...
I think, we've covered everything. So 500 units, the shares are capped at 500 units. We're hoping with 500 units, we can get, at 2,500, we'll have enough to be able to, pay off the land and also put some sort of structure on the land, which can be used for, different, things like retreats and some of those
building,
things that my wife mentioned. Yeah. But Folu, I see you're on the you're on the call this evening. If you can just, tell us about the farm, just briefly, the land, your experience working with the
Yeah,
city so far. You know.
yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me here. Um, so the in terms of the property, it's located in Kawartha Lakes. One of the good things about the land right now, and you don't really find a lot of it like that, is it's currently being used as grazing for a farmer has cattle that he uses to graze. He is selling grass-fed beef to high-end butchers in Toronto and different high-end butchers. The good thing about the property is they've never used any artificial fertilizers or pesticides or herbicides. So which is very good for the soil, which means that there's a good chance of being able to reuse that property for organic foods. And when one of the things that Akin and Nicole had mentioned about sustainable farming and having our own supply chain for food, one of the good things is that you also want to be able to eat the good foods, right? That are actually organic, right? That's very important. Akin and Nicole mentioned a lot about the property already. We're currently in the due diligence phase right now, but because of the holidays, there's been the professionals and engineers that need to go out, as well as the appraiser to go and look into the land. They were pretty much closed, so we've already requested for an extension from the seller, and they did agree to it. Just waiting on the paperwork to be signed to be sent back this evening. And once that paperwork is signed, then the appraisers and as well as the engineers to go on the land to do their due diligence, just to ensure that what we are purchasing is in fact correct in terms of the land, the soil, things like that. The property is 100 acres. 50 acres of that is environmentally protected. So the cooperative will still own that land. All that means is that there are tight regulations when it comes to that. So you can't exactly build up like a house or development site on an area that's environmentally protected. And the reason why is because they want to protect the water, the things going into the water supply. There are certain types of breeds of trees, different species that they're trying to protect as well. And the other 50% is agriculturally zoned, which means you can essentially use that for a number of things that you decide to do, whether you want livestock, horses, growing different types of foods. Of course, we'll need to test the soils and the nutrients to ensure, to identify what types of crops will be ideal to plant on that land. But the environmental protected side of it, Akin and Nicole had mentioned about having retreats and things like that. This can actually be used for things like sightseeing, learning about nature, birds, different types of animals on the property and within and on the land itself. So this is something that can have many uses, right? Even if you're not going to be building on that 50 acres, but it will still be useful for the different things that the group is trying to achieve. So that's essentially it. I mean, if there are any questions during the Q&A, I'll be more than happy to answer those. So I'll still be here.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for. All right. It gets to a point where you're just tired of being tired, and I think that's the point that we should get to as a people, because I'm tired of seeing my people suffer, or especially during the early days of COVID, right? When everyone was fighting for toilet papers. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, what if Walmart shuts down, or Fortinos? Like, what are we going to do as a people? right? I know other communities, they probably won't come out and say it, but I know they'll take care of themselves. They'll take care of themselves. So, we have to start thinking for us as well. We have to think for ourselves. So Q&A, if you guys have any questions.
What you guys can do is just raise your hands or put your questions in the chat, and then we'll get to it.
And again, it's collective. It's a collective purchase. So, we have, as an organization that is registered with the Canadian government, we have our own bylaw as well, and code of conducts and stuff. So, if you become a member, definitely you'll be getting all the documents, and you can review and accept them. One of the things I want to emphasize is, because it's a collective purchase, you can't just decide and say, you want your land, you want to cut your land out, and you want to build a house on it. Some of those things we have to, can't work out, can't work out that way. So I see a hand up. You want to call me? Yeah, Minel, you can go first.
Hello, good night. Sorry. I was on one of your YouTubes before. Is this the same land that's next to, there is a gentleman with his family living on a farm? Is this the land that's close to that one?
Yes, yeah, we actually were able to find land up there. Well, thanks to Folu.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
And perfect. Question number 2: How do we join a membership, the collective?
Once you send an email to members@pcif.ca, then we'll respond to you and send you the membership form. And then you basically fill that out. We reach out back to you and give you payment instructions and how you can make payment for your first month or year, depending on what you want to do, of membership. And then we'll also get the information of the farmland contract to you as well. And then that's it. You get a login. You get a PCIF number. Actually, sorry, I forgot that part. You get a PCIF number, and then you're able to log into the back end of the website where you can see updates and have access to our newsletter, things like that. And then we also add you, if you would like to be added to the WhatsApp or Telegram group where we do like regular updates and stuff like that. We also have a general email where we send out mass emails every couple weeks to the membership to update you on meetings and different things like that. And then that's where you'd be updated on, our workshops and trainings and stuff like that as well.
I see Mr. Vadney is typing in the comment section as well. Mr. Vadney, I don't know if you want to share a thing or two.
Introduce yourself.
Or introduce yourself. Mr. Vadney is the head of our elders.
Everyone. My name is Ivadni, and I'm a member of the board at High Fulu, and I'm the head of the elders committee, which she's saying. So I'm glad that everyone is here. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. All right.
And
McGregor.
McGregor
Sagedfo.
Hello, good evening. Just one question. So from what Folo was saying, more time has been extended. I guess the group is trying to accumulate $352,000. Is that 30 to 40% in order to secure this title under the cooperative or under the collective? Is that correct?
Yes. So far we have about 100 and something thousand, I believe, as a group collective. So we just need more, more people to come on board so we can, meet the requirement.
And we're only eligible to get one share at this particular time. We want to open it up as many as possible. Is that correct?
No, we're opening it up as many as possible.
If you I think he means like, can you
individually
buy more than one?
You can buy more than one, yeah, for sure. You can definitely buy more than one. Yeah. So the profit will be based on the number of shares you own when it's time to to split the profit.
And then as a cooperative, legally we can expand units, correct? But we just, based on this project, we just wanted to keep it at 500.
That's clear. Thank you.
Any other
I think
questions?
Mr. Clifton has I saw a hand up. He didn't click it, but he has his hand up.
Okay, Mr. Clifton.
Mr. Clifton.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good
Yes.
evening, sir.
Good
Good
evening.
night. I'm Dove Sport at Large, Clifton Joseph. I work with the Garlic Collective and the Garlic Brothers with the African Food Basket out of Black Creek Community Farm up at Jane and Steeles in Toronto. We've been producing, I have a plot, personal plot of about 40 feet by 5 feet, and we've been working that, but we also have been producing garlic for the last 3 years. This year we produced 610 pounds of 100% locally grown garlic, and we've been looking for more land, and I've been talking to people as far as Peterborough, Orangeville, and Barrie. So I really welcome this initiative. How much land do you get for the 2,500?
So that because it's a collective purchase, you as a cooperative member would have a collective access to those 50 acres.
100 acres.
Well, the 100 acres.
100 acres.
Yeah, sorry. I'm saying 50 because that's where we'd be doing, like, if we were farming garlic, it would be on that 50.
Yeah.
But you would have access to, yes, that 50 acres as a collective. So what Akin was mentioning before about like things like voting, for example, if, for example, we speak to Shabaka and he says, you know what, guys, this would be fertile ground for garlic, then you would definitely be our go-to person in the group to say, how are we going to do this? What is this going to look like? How much acres do we need for garlic? Things like that. So whatever we're doing under the cooperative would be a shared effort. So the land would be shared among, and then based on expert advice, we would now have options, and then the group would vote, and then we would decide. So that's pretty much how this would work.
Yeah.
So in terms of, okay, so let's just use our Garlic Collective as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So it costs X amount of money to get the garlic, to get the tools, the equipment. Then it takes X amount of hours of participation in planting and making sure everything is cool. How do you work that out then?
So when with regards to funding, getting you everything you need with regards to the tools and the even the seeds and everything you need for farming, the cooperative will be providing that. So you won't use your own personal funds to do that, right? The organization will be providing that. And with regards to your time, definitely we'll have a conversation with you if you're the expert that we decide to go with to farm the land, and then definitely there will be some sort of compensation, consultation fee, compensation. Like, so you definitely be paid for your time and for your services, right? But again, it has to be a collective thing. That is the only way forward for us as a people. Because individually, believe me, with the I hate to use this word, but with the powers that be and the forces that are against us, trying to do things by ourselves, or the individualistic mindset and ideas won't work, right? We can't survive. So the best way forward for us as a people is just to find a way to work together collectively. So with regards to the tools and all the equipments you need, the organization will be providing that because we have members, and the members can definitely take on the cost. But when it comes to your time and compensation and so on and so forth, we will definitely compensate you if you're working on the farm.
What plans do you have and for what crops initially that the organization has for the land so far?
Well, so far, great questions. So far, we have two farmers that are currently working on on a list of crops for us, and they're currently doing, like Fulu mentioned, they're doing the due diligence at the moment, checking the soil, testing the soil. They're doing all the analysis. And right now, phase one for us is to acquire the land. We want to purchase the land, and then phase two, we will provide, definitely as a member of the organization, you will get all the details of the type of crops that we want to farm, the type of farming. I mean, if it's animal farming and if it's crops, you will definitely know. And you have an opportunity to vote and have your say. Yeah.
And I would add to that, one of the things that Shabaka was discussing when it comes to sustainable farming was having the farming structured so that you could have, for example, you could grow chickens and grow garlic and grow ginger, plus have a greenhouse where you can grow like more, I guess, tropical plants. So different things like that is what we want to look into. We want to grow food that we can consume. So from farm to table, basically, is the idea. So if
And
that
we can also
means-
profit from it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you can sell those crops, but you can also use those crops within the community. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at: food crops, things that we can readily consume, versus
Cash crops.
versus taking over the whole land and only planting soy. You know what I mean? And then it's just about the money. But if it's about food now, we can do a little bit of everything, and that's the desire.
And the order is what we don't necessarily have at the moment. We don't know the order. We don't know what goes first or what, but we have a team that are definitely working on it. And from hearing you and from your experience and what you've described so far, I think it would be a great privilege if you can also get involved with the team, right, and help in bringing this to life, and help with the planning, because we need someone of your caliber and your experience to help with this initiative, because ultimately for us it's not just about just the profit or the making. It's about legacy, right? It's something that we want to do that 20 years down the line, our children's children can then talk about this stuff and say, there was a period in time where a group of Black people came together, they purchased land together, and they did this. So
and it's still here.
And it's still here, yeah. Something that will last even after we're gone. So yeah, it would be an honor if you can.
And this is a zoning question that I don't know if Folu is more equipped to deal with. Both at Black Creek Community Farm, where there's an actual house that the person who's a custodian of the farm lives, and there are other structures, greenhouses, and all of that. We also work out at the McVean farm in Brampton, around Steeles and Finch area. What are the zoning in terms of what can you build on the land?
Currently, there is a barn that is torn down, and as well as a drive house, right? That would need, it's currently not livable, so you would need to renovate that. So you can build a structure, living structure, and also you can also renovate it's actually a pretty massive barn that's currently on that property. So you can build up to 2 houses with the way that it currently is right now. And of course, it would also require getting approvals from the city, but that's on the 50 acres that is agricultural, not environmentally protected. Yeah.
And one final question, I guess. Please explain some more about the 50 acres that is conserved. You say it's like long-standing trees growth, and what can be done with that 50 acres?
You can't really do anything with it. Well, I mean, I can't say you can't do anything with it right now, because there are also streams, so they're protected because of the different tree species that's protected, as well as the water and also the animals. So there are certain types of species that live on that property that the government has essentially want to protect, and also in terms of the water as well. So that's, I mean, there's really nothing that we can do in terms of changing that until it comes to that point where the municipality sees a different use, or will allow different or that will allow different uses at that point. But right now, you can't essentially do any buildings on that 50 acres that's protected.
And speaking of water, my final question, what are the access to water and to electricity and those kind of things that are necessary for farming?
You do have three wells, two that are drilled. There is electricity to the property because there was a drive shed that was used to as living quarters for the seller's late mother. She did live there at one point in time, so there is access to electricity on the property, which is also another good thing because you won't have to get the run the electricity from the property line onto the property because it's already there. There's already access to phone as well, and there are also a lot of ponds on the property as well. So there is quite an abundant amount of water and access to water on the property.
Thanks. Right on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great question.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go to the chat to answer a couple questions.
Just
Thank
read
you
them
for the
out.
opportunity to ask questions. How many members does Pamoja currently have? And when was the organization founded? So currently we have over 60 members, just over 60 members. And we were officially founded 2020. Yeah, we just went through our
2020.
first full year. Yeah.
It's not even up to a year yet. I think
No,
1 year
we
for
just-
us will be,
Yeah.
well,
Officially,
officially when we registered
it's
with the
under a year.
government of
Yes.
Ontario is
Mhm.
February, I believe.
Mhm.
February 2020 was
Yeah.
when we registered with the government.
Yeah.
And February 2022, sorry, will be 1 year,
Mhm.
right? But like my wife said, we started a bit earlier because
because I mean, even how we
Yeah.
started was literally my husband just put out there like, hey, what was the message? It was
No.
basically like, let's get together and buy land and build a community. And that was shared, by a lot of us. And then people just came on and really started discussing and working with that idea. So that's basically how.
And from there, the
whole thing started.
executives were,
And then we formed the executive, and then we were like, oh, we need to make this official. So it's been a work, and it's beautiful because this all happened really organically. It was just like-minded people being pulled together, and then we just started moving with it. So that's the back end story of Pamoja.
So 1 year.
Yeah. How many members so far? We answered that one.
Pauline wants to say
500
something. I
units,
think
500.
she has a hand
Okay.
up.
So,
So Pauline is our treasurer, and I'll say, Pauline, you gotta show your face if you're gonna say something.
Hey, not today. Oh, my hair is not good. Sorry, I'll definitely make sure I show myself next time. Hi everyone. My name is Pauline. Sorry. Yes. So Nicole is right. We do have 60 members, but I had just reiterated to Allison that we have only a few that are actually paying members. So the paying members are around, I'd say 40 right now. But we do have a total, like she said.
Investing members, you mean?
Sorry?
When you say paying, you mean investing members?
No, just the membership fees only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it's investors, that's a separate number that I could generate. But yeah, just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
Okay, good. So the next question was how many members so far? And we answered that one. Pauline just answered. And then 2,500 per unit for the farmland. What's the use? So what are we going to use it for? We decide as a group what's going to be grown, etc. Yes, we do decide as a group what we'll be doing based on expert advice. So we're not going to go in there and just go based on passion. We want to go based on knowledge. Knowledge. Can we go and grow crops, raise livestock? So these are all the things that we're going to be looking into just to find out what's the best situation for the land or best decision for the land. Is the community build a separate project? The community build is a separate project, but as I pointed out in phase 3, we'd like to, once we get the farm started and that project is moving, we also do want to start looking into that area to see if there's room for expansion. It was something that came up when we had the conversation with Shabaka that I think was good.
We've actually started having conversations with the city, right, to find out if there are any options. I think Folu can talk about that, but maybe at a later date. But yeah.
Okay. I thought he was gonna say something.
Folu, you were gonna say something or no?
Allotted space or something. So.
Yeah. I mean, right now, it's still a few years out. So there aren't any immediate plans, right, for the city looking to expand in that specific area to bring subdivisions in, right? But I mean, these are I lived and grew up in Brampton. Okay, that was a very big farming town as well, right? So it was when the population grows and starts to expand, then the municipality starts allowing certain changes to happen to zoning, to change from agriculture, and again, it takes several years to even rezone land. But this isn't something specific for what you're doing. It's great because you're looking for food sustainability. In a couple of decades, when development, let's say, gets out there and they're looking to maybe rezone and things like that, now you have an asset that you can turn into something else, right? And provide homes for the community. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to say. But as of right now, there isn't immediate plans for you to be able to convert that to like a subdivision or something like that.
But Folu, we want to be at the forefront of any conversation. Like if anything comes up, please
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm always with what we do, development and things like that. So these are things that I'm always looking out for as well. So when things like this come up, or even if I hear at a town hall meeting or something like that, of anything like that, you'll definitely be first to know for the area where your land is.
Really, thank you.
Greetings, family. Is there an allotted space? So yeah, as this person is asking, is there an allotted space or size per 2,500? And we kind of answered that before, just saying that this is a group purchase, so the 100 acres will be owned by you and the other investing members of Pamoja.
So your share certificate will represent your ownership, and like any good business venture, that it's as good as it's as good as gold. It's good to go. So you can use your share certificate if you want out of the project. You can pull your shares up for sale or put it up for sale, or the organization can purchase your shares back from you. So if the organization is in a position to buy it, we can definitely buy it back from you. So that is how we want to do this. And once we have a structure on the farm, on the land, all members can get an opportunity to at least go there for like maybe choose a week in a month. We'll have like a running calendar that way you can choose like a week in a month with your family to go and stay there. We're thinking of different ways to generate income and revenue for the investors, right? So if we have a structure on the land that we can use for like a retreat, maybe a getaway, kind of relaxation retreat kind of thing.
You can block off certain.
You
do
can
a timeshare.
exactly do a timeshare, and
yeah.
whatever we get, definitely again, as one of our core values, transparency, 100% transparency. You will know, and because considering the fact that you're an investor and you own the land, any profit that the land generates, obviously you get a cut from it.
And Marvin asks, if you start with 1 share for this project, down the road, are you able to add more shares? I think this is more so a question for the 500 cap, like the 500 units.
I think the 500 is good. It's like a good benchmark cap, I guess. If we want to go above that, it's just, I mean, as an organization, if we have the resources, definitely we can acquire more land, right? Folu, I'm sure there are other more properties that we can expand, we can grow. The plan is to
absolutely, yeah, because I mean the plan is not. This is just a starting point. Just based on the different conversation I've had, with Aki Nicole and the board and the group. I've had different needs with the group. But I know what your vision is, right? So buying land, that's prime for development to build housing, and even creating generational wealth for our people. I know you have this in the back of your mind. It's something that we're looking to do as well. But this as a starting point, I think it's great. So when it's time to expand, and if it comes to maybe even buying like a neighbor's property to add another 100 acres, that's something that can be, that we would do, right? So this is just a starting point, and it's only going to grow from here.
Awesome.
So things. Oh, no. There's somebody? No, they don't.
Questions? No questions?
There's questions in the chat. There's tons of questions in that. I may have missed this, but will each investor or family be getting access to the farm as a food source on top of it being an income source? How does that work? Also, who tends the farm? So I think first question, that's something that we would definitely work out, because we want to, as I was saying, the idea of farm to table, we want to be able to consume, and especially if this land ends up being like legit organic, that would be great. And definitely, I think all of us who are investing would like to still eat from the farm. In terms of us just being able to all go there and pick and eat for free, I don't know.
No, I mean, we can,
right?
The ideal thing would be for us to have some sort of discount for like
exactly
all the investors.
Yeah.
So if you're a member of Pamoja and you're one of the investors, with your membership ID or with your membership card, you can visit the farm, and instead of paying like regular price, you probably get like maybe 50% off or something like that, right? And farm to table idea, I really love.
So that. I love this question and what you just said, and that's something that we could even look into and figure out like how we can work that out, so that, and what discount we can give to the members while still generating profit. So that's definitely something that we can look into further. And then also, who tends the farm? So we would have to hire farmhands for this.
Hire a professional.
And that would be and I mean, here's the other good part, guys. This land is what, 2 hours, right? I think 2 hours.
An hour, 30 minutes from Toronto.
It's an hour and 30 minutes.
Like, look at that. Beautiful. We don't even have to go that far. So even if we did have to hire someone, this person could literally commute to the farm or stay there if we build the house there. You know what I mean? So there's different options, but we definitely have to hire a farmer.
That's driving from Brampton to Scarborough in traffic on 401. So it's not.
It's really good. Yeah. Can you please explain how this investment produces passive income? Will it be from the sale of crops?
Well, yeah, from the sale
Sale
of
of
crops,
crops, if we
from
have
retreats,
events, Airbnb,
Airbnb.
breakfast, bed and breakfast. So
There are
all of
different
those
ways.
things,
Yeah.
yeah. We will do our best to implement different services. And even, let's say, for example, if we did farming where we could put together farm baskets and deliver them, all of those things, like what do they call them again? Where you can order your food online and like somebody help me. Those companies that deliver you meals, like and they give you like the recipes inside.
Um,
Kind of like good food.
Like good
Yeah,
food.
like
Yeah,
meal prep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or even just
we have
straight
to
up
think of ideas.
grocery delivery and stuff like that. Those are all things that we could do to generate income.
But Nicole, one of the things you do, Farms does also in their community and outside their community is run a farmers market. They run the farmers market. Yeah, they're a big that's a big thing with farmers. Yeah,
Perfect.
you know, they have their regular customers where they sell to, but then they for the community they run the farmers market on Saturdays and Sundays. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
nice.
like all of those things, selling straight to grocery stores,
yeah.
different things like that are ways that we can generate passive income.
Honestly, I mean, I know we can do this, man. You know, I know we can do this because individually, I know some of us live in like mansions. You know, 780,000 is nothing for us collectively. You know, other groups say we're consumers. We just love to consume. We spend money, but it's time to start to change that narrative, right? We have to change it. You know, it's time to do for self now. Like we have to do for ourselves and for our children. Let's start the year off with a bang. I want us to walk on that land. You know, come January, waving our flags, singing, dancing, celebrating, because it's just the beginning. But we can do this, man. We're doing this.
Definitely.
Doing this.
Promise asks, land is 50% environmentally protected and 50% agricultural zoning. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. What does the elders committee do, and what is the rule? So the elders committee.
Let Mr. Vadney answer. You want to answer for Mr. Vadney?
I'm just trying to get. There's like 21 things here.
She's doing fine, okay. Why did you stop her? The elders committee is based on the African model where you go to the elders for advice or if you have questions around certain things that you need advice on, and they're just there to support as a older group, support the organization and ensure that it fits in within all of our guidelines and all of what we want to do. And like I say, it's just an advisory committee to the board of directors, where if something is not sure based on advice, so it's just following the model of our ancestors, basically. Is that good enough for the person who asked the question? I'm promoting the organization. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Vadney.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay,
you're welcome.
And then also, when can we see the land in person? Do we have a video?
We have a video of the land, yes.
Maybe I can share
But
it
definitely,
in the email.
you can see the land in person. So Folu, that is your department.
Yeah, absolutely. We have in the next couple of weeks. Actually, you know what? Some good news. I actually got the signed extension just sent over to me. So so that's fantastic. So over the next few couple of weeks, when the subject matter experts go up there to do the appraisal, as well as the engineer goes there to do the testing, I'm also going to be up there. I'll let the group know if anybody wants to come up there and join. That's fine.
Brilliant,
Perfect. That's
brilliant.
awesome.
So
Good
please
news.
let us know ahead of
Yeah.
time so that way we can
Send
you
it
know
out.
Yep, definitely. Yep.
can meet you there and stuff. Thank you. That's great.
Nicole
Um,
Clifton has his hand up.
okay, go ahead.
Yes, thanks. I would suggest, right, because one thing seems to be missing to me, that I would suggest that, assuming this will be a successful venture, I suggest that you very quickly start plans or quicken the plans for the crops that you envision for the planting season coming up in the spring, which will be here, you know, in a couple of moons. So I really would suggest that you get on that case right away, identifying some basic crops that you can, to identify what you see as a first harvest that you would start harvesting in the late summer. And then that'll give people a clearer sense of like where you're going right away, and what kind of work will be needed, what kind of investment will be needed in terms of equipment, et cetera, and seeds, et cetera, so that people would have a clearer understanding of what the first harvest, the proposed first harvest would be.
Okay.
Totally.
Thank
Great.
you. That's
Thank you.
very good. Sound advice.
Yeah.
And that even leads into the next question about what are the plans for the farm. So that's
Yeah.
definitely something we'll have to establish in terms of the specifics of what will be farmed. And then, yes, we would like to keep renting to the cow farmer for now.
I mean, we can
We-
discuss that
but
as a group,
it is
right?
something that we could get out of that. Folu can discuss
And I
this a
mean,
little bit more in more detail, but
yeah.
it is something that we want to do for as long as we can, because we do want to use the land. It's just that that's extra income right now if we do purchase, you know.
So again,
yeah.
Shabaka and Hezekiah, who are our experts, they are currently working on the plan, the detailed plan, and we'll be sharing that with all our investors and members. So Folu,
But in terms of the cow farmer now,
so in terms of the cow farm, like I'm sure they know about it, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it is. He would obviously like to stay, because there aren't that many land in that state like that, for what he's trying to do, trying to, offer his, premium beef, right? So he does know about it. If we decide that, we don't want him on, it's something that he's also okay with as well. We can have that conversation with him. However, he's currently, in addition to him grazing and paying for grazing his cattle, he's also the one maintaining the fencing in the on the 100-acre perimeter, right? So that's one of the things that he does. And for his cattle, the back 50 that you're not going to use to build on the environmentally protected part of the property is also perfect for his grazing. So you can also do what you're doing along with what he's doing as well. So I think there will be a lot of value in that relationship, right? And of course, the animals are also keeping the plants in check, right? So it doesn't, so there aren't weeds and everything growing out. I'm sorry.
That's manure, natural.
Well, yeah, there's also that as well, right? So everything, once you walk on the property, like everything you see is money. Even with the trees, the hardwood, you have mature trees. You also have the trees that you can't touch. You can always have a mill come in to assess it and see how much they will pay you for the lumber, right, or for the wood. So there are so many things that you can do on the property.
so that even answers the next question, was, is this more of an investment opportunity? It's an investment in many ways, and that's how we want to look at investment. More than often when we do say investment, we're talking about just hard cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much money am I going to get back in return for whatever I'm putting in? But this is an investment in an ownership in our community. It's an investment in our minds. It's an investment in our bodies. So it's it's an all-around investment. And as Africans, we look at things from a holistic perspective, right? So how are we taking from yet sewing back? And that's kind of what we want to keep that circle moving. So it is an investment, but not just financially. It's an investment in every sense of the word investment. Because whatever we put into this, we're going to reap the benefits from that, and those benefits reaping means we can pour back into this project and into our community.
And another thing about having with ownership is this is something you can pass to your children, right?
Exactly.
If you invest in like stocks, or you invest in just something tangible where it's something that's not tangible, where you just get a return on investment. You just get your money and it's over with, right? But with this, you actually own it. If you pass on, this is something you can put in your will. You can pass to your children, your children's children. It's ownership, right? So something to consider.
So True was asking a little while ago how large each plot is. So again, this is a collective. The group owns the 100 acres together. Should we be raising our hands? So okay. Instead of asking someone.
Yeah, let them raise their hands.
That was a promise. Thank you. There are already questions here. So if anybody has any additional questions, you can raise your hand. But until then, I'm going to still go through the chat. Allison, we have 36. Okay. Also, is this farmland project needed to be done by? Okay, so the farmland project does not need to be done by the 31st. We just want to acquire the land by the 31st of January. So raise that 30 to 40%, get that mortgage, or raise all the $780,000, which would be perfect, because then we just be like, bam, pay for it cash, we're good to go. So it's just about raising the funds to acquire the land, fully own the land. So 500 plots sold at $2,500 by the end of next month. No, 500 plots. The 500 units are shares, not plots. So it's not 500 plots of land. It's 500 units of ownership. So that's what the 2,500 gets you: 1 unit of ownership and one or share, which is a unit of ownership. And 500 is the maximum amount of shares that we want to sell for this particular project. I hope, let me know, promise, if that makes sense. Oh.
Pamoja, together.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, makes sense.
Okay,
great.
Good.
Pamoja that's what Pamoja means.
Can you hunt in the protected land?
Folu.
That is a great question. You can. So one of the things that you can hunt, right? Now, I don't have a hunting license, so of course, you do need to check with the authorities if you need to get with, like a license to do anything like that. But one of the things that people do is they hunt on their land.
Nice. And that's even, once again, something that we could also use as income, right? If we put together, like, I don't know, different events around hunting and stuff like that. I don't hunt either, so I have no idea what hunting people do, but we'll find out. And yeah, we'll see how we can make some money off of that as well.
Yeah, you can even have something for like target practice, because you can just, there's so many options, right? So many options, for that you can do with that.
And True mentioned something really important that I thought of, but I forgot to mention, is that funding. Available funding for projects like this. There is available funding. We have spoken to a couple people who do fund projects like this. And so, yes, thank you for that. That's definitely correct.
Quick question, sorry, can I ask along with that question about funding? Is there a charitable arm of the Pamoja project so that we could qualify for funding?
Yes, but it's not fully. It's
Up
not.
and running.
Yeah, we're working on it, and we've not registered it fully yet. So we have.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was Tuka Pamoja, right?
So,
yeah.
so can I just, I'm just going to share, because I think, I think a lot of times in our community, part of the reason we don't succeed is because there's a lot of information hoarding. So Clifton, thank you so much for sharing what what your experiences are and your insights, because, so many people are succeeding and we don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it in silos within our own Black community, right? So my friend and I think we've mentioned this before, but a group of moms in the downtown core in Parkdale, Black moms, we've kind of been in the news dealing with a lot of hate mail and racism and whatever, right? In the school system, we're renaming the school, all this kind of stuff. But there was a rooftop garden that one of my friends, her daughter had not been able to use since she was in kindergarten. And she's now 11. And she said, Mom, I want us to be able to do gardening again on the rooftop of the school. So my friend and I thought about it and we talked about it to some teachers and who knew about it. And then they kind of helped us to think about what we could do to access the space. And then another mother who happens to be on the school council and happens to be the executive director of a charity that develops community gardens, she told us about funding, a white mom, ally. And so the funding was the TD Friends of the Environment Fund. And we were able to revitalize the rooftop garden. For only Black students. We're the only club that's running now, especially during COVID. It's a mixed cohort of grades 7 and 8, and it's outdoors. So it's and growing food is an essential service. So we were able to access the students, access the space that had not been touched. But we received, just for the program, just to, we planted garlic and a few other things, but we received $11,000. And
Nice.
that included being able to pay guest speakers or buying, and some of the soil and seeds were donated to us by the local charity that it's called the Greenest City, and they build a lot of urban gardens in the neighborhood. And the $11,000 was our small scale budget to buy supplies, to pay people. And my cousin is a farmer from Jamaica who's part of the foreign workers program. He's been coming back back and forth between here and Leamington, Ontario, between Jamaica and Leamington, Ontario for the past 5 years. And so he taught the kids how to, plant some garlic. I don't know how to plant anything. I just know how to write grants. I mean, so, and do research about that. There's also the Trillium Fund, which helps all Black-led projects. You don't have to be a charitable organization. You don't have to be, you can just be a grassroots organization. You don't even have to be registered. Trillium Fund can go up to like $240,000 for projects that benefit the Black or Indigenous communities. And it could be a simple idea, anything that benefits, anything that builds capacity. So there's a lot of money out there. And then as I think I put a link, it's True Daily, answering Promises question. I think I put a link there about the fact that Toronto is the first country in North America to be deemed as, having food sovereignty, notifying that Black people need to have food sovereignty in this city. So we can capitalize on all of these initiatives and get government funding and private funding and be unapologetically Black owned.
Yep. Brilliant.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know what? Please, if you can send us your details as well, we will be reaching out to you. We have a team currently working on, grants and so on and so forth. So definitely we will need some of your, expertise and, and advice as well. So we'll be reaching out to you if that's okay.
That is more than okay. I love what you guys are doing so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also Mr. Clifton, please.
Mr. Clifton, yeah.
Yes, Clifton.
Yeah.
Yes, Clifton.
Sorry, I had problems leaving you sending you a message because I had other things attached to it. So I must have sent it about 15 times.
Oh, wow.
It's the last part of the message, basically about why choose a spot that you can't utilize 50% of. What's the reasoning behind that, where you kind of hobble yourself a bit so that you can't touch 50% of the land? Is it because, I don't know, the fertility of that particular spot or availability of land in that area? I don't quite understand that part.
Is the availability of land in the area, I believe. That's the first thing. Because we wanted to be close to other black farmers that are already doing, similar, projects in Shabaka and Hezekiah that are pretty much our
In that area.
yeah. So we wanted to be close to them. So Folu, I don't know if you can provide more.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? So availability of land and also price point. So and also this particular land is very close to other experienced farmers that can provide an abundance of support and even check on the land because it's very close to their properties.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'd also add to, I think that the pros of that restricted area outweigh the cons, because there is other opportunities for us to do things like um, the hunting idea that you were saying. What is it called? Practice range.
Yeah, target range. Right?
Practice. There's different events, because we want this not just to be a farm where food is grown, but also where families can come and we can have different activities, different events, and things like that. So I think, although it's not something that we went searching for, it is a bonus, in my opinion. So I think that's one of the good things about having that restricted area, is that there are various things that we can do there to make this a real community place,
And
like a place
again,
where our community
it's,
can learn,
it's,
thrive,
it's a
everything.
start for us. Ultimately, God willing, we have to, let's buy everything up. Let's buy everything in Kirkfield. When others say Kirkfield, they say, yeah, that's the black city, that's the black area. Ultimately, that's the vision, right? So, if other properties come up again, we will definitely be on the forefront and try to acquire it, right? So that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Expansion, right?
Okay. So Alina is asking about what happens if we don't make the full 40%, 30 to 40% payment by January 31st.
Well, we can definitely get our deposit back. Fully, right?
Yeah, the conditional period for us to get financing and basically getting financing is till January 21st. Okay, the deal is closing February 20 at the end of February. So if we don't get funding, financing is an issue, then we can that condition protects you as a group to back out and get your deposit back.
Yeah. So call your friends, call your uncle or your uncles, or your family members. Let's get this done. Honestly, let's get this done. Yeah.
Can non-members invest? No, non-members cannot invest in this particular project. So it's only those who are members of Pamoja. Deborah has her hand up.
Good night. I wanted to ask if this project, which I don't like to speak that into existence, that it's not fulfilling. What are you able to, if you are a member at that point, is there other projects that you could possibly be working on that we could be investing in if this one is not successfully accomplished in the next month, that we could still participate in? Because I think it's a good collective conversation, and I think there's a lot of intelligent and people who are willing to help grow the community. So I just wanted to know if there's other things, or is it only once you become a member are you enabled to see everything else that you have to offer everyone?
So we're currently also looking into doing projects in Africa as well, in Ghana and Nigeria specifically. That is something that from the onset, we said we wanted to keep the connection between
the motherland bridge
and the
gap.
diaspora and bridge that gap. So that is also something we're looking into. I know one of our we have a team called the Power Team, and that's a group of community members who have been helping to sort of execute different various areas of Pamoja. And one of our Power Team members, Brother P, has really been hitting home on us investing collectively in digital currencies. Bitcoins. So that's, yeah, Bitcoin, etc. So that's something as well that we're looking into. Are any of those plans concrete, or even have we started collecting money and things like that for those plans? No, but those are some things that we're also planning in the back end. And we would like to offer those options and opportunities to the group once they're more solid and we have a better understanding of them.
And we have the financial projections, the return on investment, for instance, and all that. We will definitely be communicating that to all our members and provide the details.
And I'll also say too that we've also been approached by other individuals from the community where we've been giving some of them an open opportunity to share what they're doing within the community as well, because that's another part of the togetherness, being able to say, hey, Mr. Clifton has a garlic farm that he's doing. Let's look in to see how we can support that. So that's kind of, we also want to be that network to connect the different various things that are happening in the community. And so if anyone has any other ideas, please send us an email to info@pcif.ca. If you have a good opportunity that we could present to the group that goes along with what our values are.
And again, it's it's one of the benefits of group economics, right? Like pulling our resources together, and we can fund great ideas. We have a lot of entrepreneurs with like great ideas and innovations and stuff like that, but because they don't have the financial backing, some of those ideas don't come to fruition. So, but with an organization like Pamoja, if you have a brilliant idea or business venture or great opportunity, we can, if it's approved by the members and the board, definitely we can back that idea and support it and invest in it.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we're not selling plots. I've covered that already. Structure and process developed. The food, okay.
So I think I know it's a bit tough we have to just get our mind off the, individual, mindset. Like, I want a plot, 2,500. I mean, if you can buy a plot for 2,500 in Canada, that is an hour, 30 minutes from Toronto. That's impossible. Everyone will do it, right? So, so we have to get away from that mindset. Like, though you're 2,500 you have now, you might think it's not much, but believe me, if we all come together, we pull our resources together. Exactly. If you want to go, what's the problem? If you want to go If you want to go far.
If you want to go
far, go alone. No. If you want to go further, go together. Yeah. So, yeah.
Go Google it.
You get it. I'm sure they get the idea. So, yeah, together, we have to do this together. That's the only way.
We're just really watching up all these.
So, but honestly, imagine the impact, right? If we purchase, or when we purchase this land, we close on the deal, we have a press release, a group of 500 people, a group of 500 Black families came together, purchased land. They want to go into farming. They want to farm collectively. That will send a strong message to our political leaders in Canada, right? To the premier, to even the prime minister, then they can invite us to the table, and the conversation definitely will be different. Because then they're not inviting us to say they want to give us handouts. They're inviting us because the respect level is like, these guys did this. What do you need in order to complete what you started, right? So we have to bring ourselves to the position where people will take us seriously. If we keep going to them and say, no, please give us, give, they say these guys are not serious. But if we purchase land and they see, oh, they've done that, we have a strong case, right? We have a strong case. So that's how I see it. And I know we can do this.
So it's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's it. Thank you, Google. Okay, so we have many more comments. I'm going to actually ask, maybe everybody should just raise their hands. I think it'll go easier because of our
that's
time.
what I'm saying. It's a lot of.
So if you did have a burning question, raise your hands, please. I'll still go through the chat a little bit, but if you do want to, that would just be easier.
Please raise your hand and unmute yourself.
And let's get to you.
No questions?
The farmer's salary how would the farmer's salary be paid from the initial investment, or will members be required to invest again to cover this? And then there was another question about a business plan. I don't want to forget that. Farmer's salary, Keen, I think you should take this question. I personally would say that definitely. I don't think this will just be a one-shot $2,500
so from our projections
investment, but you go ahead and answer.
No, from our projections, if from just the maths, 2,500 with the admin fees and so on, and the closing cost, we're estimating roughly around 800 and something thousand to be able to close the deal, to own the land with HST and all that. Definitely we will have some reserves, right? Then we will look into like putting a structure on the land. So again, all the finances will be shared, the details, and then you get an opportunity firsthand to see what is needed and what is required, right? If we need, again, we can take this in phases. So instead of trying to do everything at once, we can tackle it in phases. So phase 1, we put a structure on the land. Phase 2, we finalize the crops and the type of farming we want to go into, and we start that. We determine the resources, what we need, and how we're going to get that. Again, once you're a member of the co-op, you get all these details and you get to vote, and have your say. Right.
I'll also add, and that's good, Akeem. I'll also add, and in terms of the business plan, it is in the making. So these types of things would be discussed there. However, I will say that if we sell those 500 units, we're going into over $1 million, correct? So we would be able to purchase and start up the project.
Operations.
The other thing is the grants, the other investment monies that we would be getting. These things will now supplement whatever costs that would be incurred by running the farm or getting it started, preparing it, and then starting to run it, etc. Like paying the farmhand, like building the house, renovating the barn, and things like that. So in terms of costs, we will look into that. There's always a possibility that, if you're an investing member and this is something that you want to do, that you would want to, or might be asked to put more money behind the project. However, we would like to look for other options, and just keep that 1.2 million as your investment. We start the farm, we get other investment from outside, etc. And then we use
to
the
just add to
funding
that
from
quickly.
Yeah.
as an investor, you know, you own the land, right? The land is yours. Whatever is done on the land, definitely there will be you know, return on investment or profit that you will be getting, right? So when we get to the phase where we need to build, like we need to hire like farm manager, or we need to plant a couple of crops, we can look at our financial our numbers with the help of our CFO, and also maybe a financial expert to help us with the projections, right? We can even ask for you know, additional investors to come in, but the investors that will be coming in at a later stage, they will probably just get a return on their investment. Like for instance, we'll say, I'm just throwing these figures out there. You don't quote me on this. We can say, like, if you put in $1,000, after 3 months, you get 1,200, something like that. Maybe you put in the $1,000 to grow corn, and once we harvest the corn in 3 months, you get 1,200. So that's your return. You get your money and you're gone, right? They don't own the land. They don't have any ownership. But you, considering the fact that you are one of the original investors and owner of the land with a share certificate, you're a different. You have a different type of share. Basically, there's going to be a Class A share, and there's going to be a Class B share. The Class B shares just get return on the investment, and they're gone. We wave them back, goodbye, basically, and that's pretty much the concept. But I don't know how we're going to structure
and
it yet.
I think we also have been building from the first project that we embarked on. We have been building relationships with lenders. So the goal is not for us to have to put up money down the road. The goal is for us to really search for investors who believe in, you know, in this project, who can clearly see that agriculture is a lucrative
like True mentioned too, there's
right?
resources available too, right?
And so those investments, that's what we will be running after. That's the job of the board, to go after those funds to be able to fund this project from the ground up, I guess, or pick off from where we've started. And so I mean, it is something that we have to be truthful and transparent with you. That might happen. But will we just sit back and say, you know what, hey, it is what it is, and just allow it to happen? No, this is something that we'll be looking into in terms of grants, funding from lenders, all of that. And again, back to the business plan. The business plan is what we will now use to fine tooth comb through all of those details, seeing where can we get finances from, what amounts of money would we need for project A, B, and C, and all of that.
Yeah. One step at a time, you know? One step at a time. Please write down her email and stuff, and Mr. Clifford's email. I see you just skipped it.
These don't save, do they?
I don't know how to pronounce your name. Shahi? Shahi?
It's Shahai.
Shai. Oh wow, lovely name.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, what would be the difference between being a Pamoja like member and an investor? What are the benefits of being a member versus an investor?
So in terms of the members have access to the workshops, Perkopolis. Currently, we're working on the Pamoja Perk Partners, and that's different Black-owned businesses within Ontario who will provide certain perks for people just because they're from Pamoja. So maybe it's Nicey's Groceries or something like that will throw in like a 5% off coupon every month if you're a Pamoja member, something like that. So those are the types of perks that,
and ultimately,
first right of refusal, being able to have access to the different investment opportunities.
Ultimately, you can vote.
Things like that.
You can vote voting and have your say. Yeah. I believe in our bylaw is every 5 years that we have to change
for the board.
Mm-hmm. So you can, submit your resume as one of the candidates to be elected as one of the board members. you can, you can have your say. You can vote on all matters pertaining the organization. The general meeting as well. You can attend the general meeting of the organization. Like my wife mentioned, workshops, seminars. You get exclusive invitations to some of those as well, and you can attend. So yeah, those are some of the benefits of being a member. You're part of the family. As an investor, you just get your money and
And then I think the other thing
and you get your
too
return,
is,
basically.
yeah, and I think the other benefit is being a part of an up and coming organization who has the community at heart. And what that means is that if you have an idea or if you have a passion for your people and you see that, okay, well, this is where we can fill in a gap or this is something that we can start, then we now will be able to pull together and back you on that and move forward with that. So I think Pamoja really wants, what we really want for Pamoja to be is kind of like a glue, right? Connecting that community. That's why we chose Pamoja, the togetherness.
It's a grassroots
So it's
movement.
not
Yeah.
we're not just the Israelites or the Christians or the Muslims or the people who believe in like the Yoruba
The Buddhists,
traditions.
Ifa.
So we're the everyone who recognizes that all of us have one thing in common, even though we have a million things that are different, which is our heritage, our complexion, our
complexion is good
origins,
enough,
right?
because
So
when other groups see us, they don't see us like
exactly.
Like
We're
for
not
instance,
looking
if
like,
I
is
don't
she
open
a
my mouth
Christian?
and say something, they don't ask. They don't say, "Oh,
Yeah.
are you African or something?"
Yeah.
If even my wife, they won't know her background is Jamaican. They won't know that. Like they just say she's
from
black,
what,
right?
exactly.
So
And that's the one thing that we face together. That's the one thing that all of us can say we face in unity. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, if we stand on that unifying foundation, we build from there. So I think that's not trying to be a niche group per se, you know what I'm saying? Like a cliquish
no
group.
one left behind.
But it's exactly, it's saying that this and ownership, the reason why we're focusing on ownership is because that's what all of us have lost along the road in our history, right? We've lost being able to own our food, especially those of us who are outside of the continent and the Caribbean. We have lost being able to say, I can go to my backyard or wherever, or wherever down the street and what have you, and have the chickens or have the potatoes and have the callaloo and have all these things. We've lost that, right?
We buy from Walmart.
Exactly. Or I've lost my, most of us who come from the Caribbean or Africa have a grandparent's house. We don't really have that, So I think that's kind of why.
And then also, how much are the membership fees?
So it's $9.99 a month.
Okay. And then I was just wondering how and if vaccine mandates are going to affect this project or members or investors, if that's of importance at all.
For us, it's not of importance in terms of what the Ontario government or the Canadian government's going to do. That's not something that we've been asking people for at all. So it wouldn't be something that we would enforce like as the board, and I don't really even think our members would even support something like that. But yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cole, can I ask the young lady some clarification on what she means by the vaccine mandate? Because we don't have responsibility for the vaccine mandate. That's the government of Canada. So how does she mean it in connection with us as an organization?
I don't know. Shy. Well, I wonder.
Shia?
Maybe.
Yeah, like maybe some more clarification because right now we're looking at the farm, we're looking at investing in the farm, we're going through that process. And hopefully, with God's grace, by the time we get to where we own the farm, we won't have to worry about COVID anymore, hopefully, right? So, so
Go back to
yeah,
normal.
yeah, I believe in a higher power. So I just wanted some more clarification about how the vaccine mandate ties to what we're currently doing right now, because I don't think it is a thing for people to invest. It is a,
I think you know how some companies now, like I heard the next thing that's one of the upcoming things in terms of the vaccine is that some companies will be saying, if you don't have the vaccine, then you can't do X, Y, Z. Is that what you mean, Shai?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
That's what I meant. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to know if that could potentially be a factor here. If that, yeah, I didn't imagine that it would,
No,
but
I
just
can't say.
clarity, because people are really surprising me these days. So it's better
But
to
that's why I was
ask.
asking for a little bit more clarity. Is that is what you meant in relation to? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Trust me.
So that's not something we would subscribe to.
No.
great, perfect.
Um, um, and in terms of becoming a member, members
Members at pcif.ca.
at pcif.ca. Oh, oops. I'm trying to send it to the wrong person. Okay, and does anybody else want to raise their hand for a question while I...
No? I think that's it.
I feel like maybe I should even... And these are all really good because I'm putting together the Q&A, the
FAQ.
FAQ, yeah.
Okay. All right, not a problem. I mean, we can
It's getting
export
late.
this. It's
Okay,
fine.
so we'll export the rest of the questions and hopefully get them answered and out to everyone. I think some of them are repeated questions.
Can you copy that?
And we're also, I did. Yeah, I took a shot of it. Yeah. And we're also going to be sending this video out as well so that you guys will be able to look over it, and the other people who couldn't make it today as well. So thank you everyone for coming out. We're really grateful, and we hope to work with all of you guys. I'm really inspired by Mr. Clifton. Is it Clifford or Clifton? Clifton, yes.
Clifton.
By what you're doing. So thank you for that, and I'm glad you were here to share that. So everyone have an amazing evening and a happy new year. That's
Happy
right.
New Year.
Happy
New
Year,
everybody.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for the presentation. Have a good evening, everybody. A holiday.
Well, that's for members.
Okay,
All right,
awesome.
take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Good night.